Okay, it's April 6th today. There's a little bit of background neighborhood noise, but it's day 3 of trying to repot at least one tree every day until I can't anymore for whatever reason. So this is my gray dogwood, and you know, it might not look like much, but it's actually been in this pot for 2 years, I think. You can see there's roots growing everywhere on the surface, so it's real packed in there. This was a really tall tree at one point. When I first collected it, it had a bunch of side branches, but there was no taper. It was pretty much all the same pencil width thickness all the way to the top. That was this dead branch here, or dead trunk. Anyways, I kept it inside for most of its life. The first winter of its life, at least. Yeah, and then I brought it outside last year, kept it outside last winter, but then it really died back a lot. I cut it back, and then it died back even more. So yeah, I cut this down, I think when I made these cuts on a video last month or something. I'm gonna, regrow this tree to be maybe a double trunk kind of funky style tree. I don't know, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'll put it back in this pot and develop it as a bonsai. I can reuse some of that moss. See all the roots that had grown through the moss there. Now I don't have any drainage screens or anything. All the holes are pretty small in here. I think I can just kind of pop it out. Yeah, there it goes. Yeah, I had way too large of a drainage layer in there. At least I can reuse a lot of that large, coarse perlite and pumice and whatever else is in there. I'll put that off to the side first so it doesn't get mixed in with everything else. It's pretty interesting how hardly any roots grew through that really thick drainage layer. Yeah, this was definitely 2 years ago. There's a bunch of pumice in here, which I haven't bought in a long time. And that soil is, I don't think there's any safety zorb. Yeah, there is safety zorb in there. Probably one of the first trees I planted with it. I've been doing that for a couple years now. So, okay. I'll just clean this up, put this off to the side, and I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, I got that cleaned up down there, and I washed out the pot too, got all the salt stains and everything else out of there. Nice and clean. I can just focus on getting this root system sorted out. There's definitely some long ones in there. Do as much as I can with my fingers first. Soil's still in pretty good shape. Maybe I did repot it last year. I'll check my records, but I don't think I did. I think it's been since before I started this channel. Probably 2 years in this pot. It's pretty hard to describe the feeling of just using your fingers to get in between those roots and pull all that soil out. Just connecting with your tree feeling where the thick roots are, where the clumps are. Yeah, it's just a good feeling. Hard to describe. Very prehistoric type feeling for me anyways. I'll give it a quick wash and get all this soil off for now. I bought some new potting mix, succulent potting mix that I sifted out and made some good new soil with, so I don't need to worry about running out of new soil and having to reuse old stuff. I'll save the old stuff for starting seeds and other things. Okay, so both my pruners and my scissors are sterilized, good to go. Just cut off some of these longer ones for now. Definitely not gonna need any of these. I think I can bring in the stick now. Get everything moving in the same direction. These roots are very mixed up together. A lot of crossing roots in there. Just gonna have to rip through a lot of them. There's definitely an excess of roots, much more than I need in the end. It's getting closer. I think I'll just, end up cutting most of that off and trying to put something like this back in the pot, kind of central in the pot, to grow a radial root system. And then, just try and get some leaders, 2 leaders off these 2 trunks here to grow big and thick this year. And cut them back next winter for some more movement. Okay, I'll wash this off and then I'm gonna cut this back, which will leave me with this kind of square. Okay, so there's one thick root coming out of there. For now, I'll cut everything back to right here. This thick root divides there, so that's probably a good spot to do that. Okay. Now I'll get rid of the rest of this soil and select my root plane and main roots. I think I had done some root pruning, or the original, root training on this tree when I first planted it into this training bonsai pot. Which must have been a couple years ago. Put it in some good soil at least, and it's grown a lot of roots since then. I think there's going to be a really good selection to make a nice radio root system. Okay, one more wash with water. Now I can get into that root system. So, I see a couple things right away that I want to get rid of. First, this one. That's, for this type of tree, not going to be very interesting. I'm going to do some wild stuff with my Ficus microcarpa, the root system on it. This is a cool root here that comes out of, that part, which I thought was dead all the way back to the base, but I think might be alive, so I'll keep that. But I'll get rid of this one that grows out of there. And I don't really want this one back here. It doesn't have quite as much root as the other one. This one's probably too high. The root plane, I think, is going to be just below that. Get rid of that one. Get rid of whatever's sticking out there. I think this one might be a tiny bit high, but I'll keep it for now. This one should be going that way. This thick root here, I believe I pruned that last time, so I'll get rid of, I think if I plant this tree something like at this angle, the angle of this root flare is pretty good, and then I can get rid of that one and this thick part of the original root, and then I'll let the other ones grow out radially. Get rid of that one. This one comes out over there. Yeah, I can keep these roots in here. Keep those ones. They're a bit long, of course, but I can trim them down later. This one, yeah, I think that root's kind of dead anyways. That one's growing out at a weird angle, coming from over there. This big one can get chopped here. All these roots divide really nicely, but this is just a big thicker one that goes the same thickness all the way down to the end. I'll cut it right here. There's actually 2 roots that come off it at that point, so that's a really good spot to divide, and I really like you know, the flare of those roots there, the angle. This one comes kind of out of that dead wood, but I think maybe I should keep that one. It's kind of at the same level as this. Yeah, that can be my kind of major root plane. Now there's a really thick root over here that I need to, it comes off at a really strange angle, just straight down. I think I'll use my other pruners. Clean it off a tiny bit. And I'll just cut this one at an angle that encourages new roots to grow down kind of, you know, at a good angle this way. I think if I just like that, should work pretty good. This one can go. And then I've come back to where I started. So I think that's pretty good for sorting out the radial part of the top of the root plane. This root kind of comes up and then goes down. There's another one that comes off at a better angle there. So I'm going to cut it here. I've got 20% battery. Okay, I think I generally like the rest of that. Now I can come in and cut the bottom. That'll get rid of a lot of this clumpy roots down here. Maybe I should, I'll take this bigger one back to there. And then this one crosses from here, so it can go. Yeah. Okay, let's see if I can access that. Yeah, so I must have, you know, pruned off the tap root last year at some point, and then it's grown quite a big bunch of roots going off this way. So I think I'm going to come in, and because my root plane is all higher up there, I'm just going to cut the main tap root there nice and flat, and then it should sit fairly flat on the bottom. Okay, so this is a fairly big root chop here. I think I can come in from this way and just that looks pretty flat. Is it all the way through there? Okay, here I go. There it is. Okay, yeah, that was pretty much most of that root system gone now. Cool. Big, thick cut there. That's definitely the biggest clump of roots I've ever pruned off. Now that looks really good on the bottom. can take out some of these that are kind of growing downwards. Cut anything that's sticking up. Yeah, that one's no good. This one, kind of weird. Okay, that's enough messing around there. Yep, that'll fit in there really nicely. Okay, we'll just use all new ingredients. Yeah, you know, actually I don't even need big coarse grain anything at the bottom, because those drainage holes are pretty small and I've sifted my soil pretty well, so it doesn't have any small stuff in it. Sifted it down pretty much so there's nothing under a millimeter in it and nothing over 6 millimeters. So I think that's looking really good, actually. For now, anyways. I am really happy with that root system. Cool. I think I kind of ripped that bud off and that one in the process of cleaning it or whatever, but that's fine because I want, actually, if this one could grow off as the leader that way and I could get something growing off this way, that'd be really cool. We'll see what grows, and hopefully this root system keeps developing nice and radially in the future. I think this is a really good start for it. Quite happy with how that root cutting process went. Thought it was going to be more difficult than that. Oops. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do this process off camera because it's tedious, takes a while, pretty much is the same for every tree, no matter what, so you know, you don't really need to see it every time. I also ran out of water, so I'm gonna have to get more of that so I can water this soil in. Okay, yeah, I'll be back when I've done all that. Okay, I've got my water and I got that soil all chopsticked in between the roots. I like to make sure it's all pushed down in there when I do the initial watering. I planted it, or rather I put, piled the soil up a little high. And I need a little bit more there. I want to cover all these roots because I cut so much off. I don't want any of the remainder, dying off, drying out and dying. So that's pretty sturdy in there. I don't think I need to put any rocks on it or anything. It's not like it's a top heavy tree that's gonna be at risk of falling over or anything. Got the nice sound of dripping water to finish this video. I think that's looking pretty good. I'm quite happy with it. Really happy with that, the root development on that tree, and how nice and radial it is now. Oh, there's the zombie apocalypse. There's my sign to go. Obviously, I don't need to do any pruning on this tree. Did that a while ago. There's a whole bunch of buds around this one, so I'm hoping that'll, that'll be kind of an, another multi-trunk. Maybe I can grow this as a really large kind of umbrella style. We'll see. Dogwoods usually grow as small kind of bushes, clumps in nature. Here's all the roots I took off. That is wild. It's just getting crazier every repot. There's my soil. As always, I'll dry that out and reuse it. It still looks pretty good. Okay, that's that. I'm gonna keep this outside because the risk of freezing temperatures are pretty much over. Gotta be careful with that one, don't want to wreck the bud on it. Okay, I'll keep it in the back there for a few days to, minimize the sun it gets. These are all the other ones I've repotted. Rather, this is my little birch that I will be repotting. I'm just trying to give it a little bit of extra shade. It does better in shade. The winter creeper I did repot. The cedar that I did last, repot, and lots of pruning, branch pruning. The first Norway maple, the second Norway maple, and the one little, I think, red maple that I collected from the yard. And now my gray dogwood. I'm not sure which one I'm gonna repot tomorrow, but I'm sure it's gonna be another fun experience. That's it for now. As always, thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Cheers.